theatricality and deception. Powerful agents to the uninitiated, but we are initiated.
I'm super excited!
This boat lets you walk underwater. You can pick up antiques without wearing a diving suit. It just sends oxygen underwater, and the diving bell boat that empties the surrounding river. It is mainly used to salvage accident ships, cargo boxes, anchors and other items sunk on the seabed. To create an oxygenated space underwater depends on this look. Diving bell like a gun barrel. It snaps to the bottom when it activates. The compressor then blows air into the interior of the dive. The remaining water will be squeezed out, and the staff need to acclimatize to the high-pressure environment in the pressurized chamber before entering the dive. After gradually adapting, you can follow the stairs directly to the inside of the diving bell. Various drops on the riverbed can be seen here. If the item is too heavy, you can use the crane to pull it away directly. This very high-tech looking ship, in fact, it was built as early as 1973. 50 years of history. It is mainly responsible for the busiest waterway in Europe. Salvage something of value from a wrecked ship on the Rhine, like this old monster ship, and the overturned boat built in 1962. It sometimes looks like a fishing float, sometimes it looks like a thermometer again, because it works upside down in the ocean. It's like measuring the temperature of the earth. So do you know what it is for?
I lived in an old house. It had fireplaces in every room except the bathroom. The realtor told me that the fireplace cannot be used because it wasn't built properly. I thought it was strange. The Tartarian fireplaces did not burn. Fireplaces were as spectacular as the buildings they stood in. But unlike the way we use fireplaces today, the fireplaces themselves were not designed to burn anything. The chimneys were not used to draw smoke out of the fireplace, and out of the house's structure were not used primarily to provide any structural support. The reinforcement in the house was connected to the dome of the tower on the roof, which was quite possibly filled with various substances such as mercury, radium, or quartz crystal, and metal bars sticking out from the top and sides of the building. Everything was then connected with the metal back sheeting found inside the original Tatar fireplaces and chimneys. Metal poles sticking out of the upper and sides of houses and other Tatar buildings acted as ethereal electric antennas that harnessed the power of the ether to channel this free energy into the chimney. The air ventilation shafts, air ducts, found in the rooms of the house were connected to the chimney. Ionized air, along with rising and falling currents of hot and cold air, created a pressure electric vacuum inside the chimney. During the winter, chimneys acted as pressure electric vacuums, emitting captured heat inside the chimney out over the fireplace. During the summer, the process would be reversed and the fireplace and ventilation pipes would absorb heat into the fireplace and air ducts, connected to the inside of the chimney inside the house and through ionized air from the etheric electrically charged metal backboard. Inside the KO mine would push the heat up the chimney and out the house. Reinforcement, dome, roof towers and metal bars sticking out of the sides of the house acted as a spider, attracting ether and concentrating etheric energy throughout the house. Just like spiders can grow and survive without food and water if they touch their web, Tartarians were able to live without food and water provided they remained inside their etherically charged home.
What the?
These are some of the most ornate, fancy, schmancy slugs that we've ever shot. They look like something out of like one of those weirdo role-playing games with some kind of enchanted crystal thingies. And they are designed to be shot out of a 12-gauge shotgun. Now, Sam did a fantastic job making these things. Not only are they're just works of art, but they're also dimensionally perfect for a shotgun. Even though they're rather long, each one weighs about 1 ounce. He put nails and other things inside there, and it just the effect of it is just really stunning. Now, the first two I've just loaded right into the shell, and then the last two I used these really deep shot cups because these are a little smaller in size. So hopefully those will fit down the barrel, hit the rifling of the shotgun, and cause them to spin. Let's see what happens.
All right, we're gonna shoot Sam's glass nail round here. Looks kind of like a Christmas ornament or an icicle. It's an actual glass cylinder that has a nail embedded in it. And let's see how it goes.
Yeah, brake action.
And prunes.
Prunes. Glass number 1. Okay, hit it. Wow. It was kind of an overcast day today, but still we got some really good imagery with the Chronos camera. As you can see, the majority of the slug shattered when it was shot, but a big enough piece stayed on target and did a number on that clay block. Now, I was quite surprised.
So you're trying to tell me that all these stone megalithic structures found all over our realm was all done by horse and buggy and hand, hammer and chisel? I would maybe believe that if I didn't see videos like this. Now here are 4 modern heavy machines, and they can't even lift one of those blocks. Now you can use all the slaves in the world, all of the horses and all of the buggies in the land, and you're not pulling this off, let alone shaping it into perfect size, stacking it block by block, each block weighing about a ton each easily, even more. And what kind of horse cart are you putting that stuff in? Where our trucks today can't even lift these blocks. Been telling you, think in terms of frequency and vibration. The power of sound, levitating blocks. Look up the Coral Castle in Florida. One little old man built a whole coral castle by himself using sound. Question everything.
device right here has sent me down the deepest rabbit hole. And that's because this is a source of free energy that has a very mysterious history and could be linked to UFOs.
But for several years now, a small group of scientists here has been investigating a strange new space-age metal, a nickel-titanium alloy called nitinol.
In cold water, nitinol turns soft. Bend it and it stays bent, but in hot water it springs back with forces as high as 55 tons a square inch. No one knows quite why this happens. Several years ago, McDonnell Douglas began experimenting with nitinol in the form of springs. At room temperature, the nitinol wire springs bend easily, but in warm water they spring back, thus forcing the wheel around. Even stranger, nitinol wires get stronger the more they're used. They develop a double memory. They not only contract in the warm water, but they begin to stretch of their own accord in the cool water. Nitinol can be trained.
And then there's this document that was written from the Battelle Memorial Institute to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio in 1949. And of course, the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is known for allegedly storing the crashed UFO that happened in Roswell in 1947, which was just 2 years before this contract was written. And in this document, they're talking about the different alloys that they're testing, and they're giving a progress report on those tests. And at this time, nitinol went by a different name. And a lot of the serious UFO researchers believe that the Battelle Memorial Institute was the organization that was given the contract to examine and test all the metals that were retrieved from the Roswell crash. And one more interesting thing about Battelle is that they are the same organization that invented coating and metals that were used on spy planes that were then later used on the U-2 and the SR-71.
Check out this candle I found on Amazon. It was invented centuries ago. It uses beeswax, so it does not drip wax. It self-extinguishes, and it can burn up to 40 minutes per 2 inches of rope.
We're given a photo with the airships in the background in the sky. So I went digging and found this photo from 1905, World's Fair in Oregon, showing more airships. And since I haven't really covered this topic yet on this channel, in my opinion, and a few others, this form of travel was all over the place. It wasn't just created in the 1800s, and the Hindenburg event was used as a scare tactic to make these airships look faulty, removing this free energy form of transportation technology out of our lives. Do you really think that they put a gas in these airships that would be so incredibly flammable and fly them over massive cities? Or does it make more sense that this Hindenburg event was a planned event to get rid of this free form of travel and wipe it from the history books? Here we have a photo of one of these airships sitting in between the two spires of the Old World building. You can see that they use these spires to electrically charge these airships, and this was common knowledge. And in the very next photo, it's leaving the port. We are not given the truth about our history. This isn't something that we are ever told about in our mainstream schooling system all over the world. Do you find that odd? Let's keep digging. We see that the US Army had this technology in the 1800s, as well as the Navy. Now, this is a photo from July of 1931, and we clearly have an airship charging at the top of this building. So we have a lot going on here, and this was within the last 100 years. An airship charging at the top of this tower. Did you think they only charged at the top of buildings? Of course not. They had charging docks in the middle of the water. Here we have a photo of the US Navy airship in 1924, charging from this boat. Now let's zoom in on this charging station to get a good look at what's going on here. Now this is a technology that we were never told about. This is hidden from our timeline. a clear proof that there is much more to the story than what we've been told, especially since this was not thousands of years ago, and shows how easily history can be rewritten. This technology should be common knowledge at this point. Here we have another angle in Rhode Island of the charging taking place. These airships were not powered by gas or simply helium. And if we switch angles here, we can actually see the charging tool that was used right at the top of this tower. They're clearly about to connect to the airship. So this, in my opinion, is clearly explaining what's going on at the top of these old world buildings. They were charging stations for the airships. They have the same features, and I guarantee you that they still turn on, since this was not that long ago. And I'm going to take this time right now to answer a lot of people's question. Will we ever find the truth? As we keep uncovering more and more documented evidence, we're going to find that the previous civilization was not that far in the past, and our current structures hold so much more technology than we ever truly understood. So in my opinion, yes, we are going to find the truth about all of this. We are uncovering the truth faster and faster, and this community gets bigger and bigger, with more and more people sharing their thoughts and knowledge. The mainstream history is becoming comedy hour at this point. So we can clearly see that these buildings all around the world may have had a second purpose, but they were without a doubt here to generate free energy, specifically for airships. And once you realize this, then we can go deeper and ask the question, was the previous civilization capable of using these buildings to power their flight that were so much more powerful, so much faster, and so much more incredible than an airship? I believe that they fully understood this technology. They were the ones that constructed it. They had this technology and were able to travel through the air so much faster than we can today while using the Earth's natural energy. These buildings are technology. They are able to extract the energy and are able to turn it into a fuel. If you're looking for a why, a motive to suppress this technology, well, it would 100% benefit a civilization, us. It's free. There is zero benefit to free transportation, free energy. Do we need to go further for the why? So when you go around your town now and see the top of these buildings, we can all understand how popular this form of transportation really was. It was everywhere.